Welcome, everybody, to Sasha and Goff live recorded. I'm Sasha.
And I'm Goff.
And we are a little bit off this week because we are doing this the way that I said we never would, via, not Zoom, what's this called? Google Meet, M-E-A-T.
Yeah, Google Meet. Yeah, we actually, this is where we met. We met on this site many years ago.
That's right.
Yeah.
Slamming
No,
meets.
the true story, though, is that your wife, Megan, finally had that talk with you, and she was just like, you know what? That rat fuck son of a bitch is not coming into our house anymore, and this is how we got to do it now.
Look, I know that you're joking about that, but I didn't tell you that she really is like, yeah, he's got to go.
Verbatim, that's what she said.
Yeah. Here's some cool stuff about this. One, you have a new computer.
I do.
And your internet connection seems way more stable than the last time we did this a year ago.
I'm kind of in the lap of luxury right now, my friend.
It's still... also, there's a ceiling 2 inches above your head. I don't know where you are or how tall you are, but it's a very interesting space that you have over there.
It's, well, yeah, you know, what the hell? I am in my crawl space right now. My highly decorated crawl space. No, literally, if I turn the camera like 3 inches to the left or right, you'll see that the drywall behind me just ends. This is literally just the background for podcasting. Yeah. And also, anyone watching on YouTube, you can see my wall kind of matches Sasha's wall. That was kind of planned, actually. I was like, yeah, what the hell, just in case we got to go remote, because, you know, that's all I care about is this podcast. Thanks, man.
Pretty solid. The other thing that's weird is, well, the lighting in my room. I totally forgot how to do anything in this sort of recording podcast situation. So it took us an hour for me to try and set this thing up. And it turns out it was all my fault that we didn't start this an hour ago.
It's
and
literally
also
I was gonna say it's literally 8:12. Yeah, we're gonna be talking over each other a lot. It's 8:12 right now. We started our call at 7:15.
Yeah, it's rough. Also, I've had to subscribe to Google One Premium to get us going. So.
Yes, yeah. So remind me to remind him to cancel that in like 28 days.
Yeah, I got 31
so.
days. Yeah. All right. Well, this week's episode, we're going to be doing our top 3 childhood memories. This is a weird one. This could be a deep one. This could be, I don't know. How did it go for you?
You know, not too bad, actually. I actually was able to come up with some bottom 3 memories as well.
Okay.
So,
I got one.
All right. Yeah. I do have 3. I think I got 3, but yeah, we talked about that last week. I was listening to last week's episode a couple days ago, and I do remember us saying it's like, things might get really dark if we have to talk about our top 3 worst memories. But I was able to find some that didn't trigger anything. So,
okay, excellent. In that case, I just want to start about talking about what's been going on this week. I've actually had a crazy. I got 2 stories, I guess, basically. They go from last Saturday to this Saturday. Last week's episode or the week before, I don't remember because of how we record. But we did, like, top Chicago and bottom Chicago things that we like and dislike and whatever. Was that last week?
I think it was 2 weeks ago.
Okay. Well, so the last 2 weekends I've spent in Chicago. And so I just had some, nice experiences that I thought I would share. Just and then some horrible experiences. Maybe not horrible, but just some stuff that was kind of like questionable. And you go, oh yeah, it's Chicago. I love it. Okay. First and foremost, my niece came. I told you my niece was coming with her son, 6-year-old son, and that's why I've been Googling little boys for months at this point. The police have not shown up. They have not. Knocked on my door or anything, but I have been sleeping in the car just in case. But anyway, so my 6-year-old, he's actually in Serbian. I think he's considered my grandson,
okay,
which is insane. But anyway, they came in and they were here for like 8 days, something like that. And they were staying with my parents. God bless them for being able to do that. We only were able to spend one day in Chicago, and so we went last Saturday. We took the train up there, and I don't take the metro too often, but it's about an hour train ride from where I live. And so we went up there, my mom, Megan, and then my niece and her son. And we were just like, all right, we're going to spend the day apparently in Chicago, just walking around, seeing how far we can go and whatever. We get to the train station. I've been to the train station a bunch. I don't know if you know this, but I went to the International Academy of Design and Technology for a semester or two when I was like 19 years old.
Did not know that. I had 2 friends actually who went there. Wow.
Really?
I say friends. Not like you're not a friend, but 2 other friends, I'll say.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive that you have 3 friends.
Hey.
And so I used to walk from the train station, well played, from the train station to the International Design and Technology, whatever. It was on State Street. It's not there anymore. But I used to be to go there, and so every day I would get off the train and I would go up these escalators, and there's a McDonald's right there. That would be the place that I would, get some food or whatever, whether I'm going there or on the way home. There's a Sbarro, there's a Dunkin' Donuts. It's all right there, and it's been there forever. And will you believe the McDonald's is closed in Union Station in Chicago? Another closed McDonald's.
Oh, come on. That's 2 we have
crazy.
Discovered.
And by the way, that one's been open at least since I was 19 years old, like 23 years or whatever, 24, 23. I can't do the math. That's how long ago it was.
Yeah,
I don't know what's going on with McDonald's. I think they're going under.
When you got down the escalator, it was like to the right. I think it was like the second or third one all the way from the end there. I think the Taco Bell actually is on the very end, or it was. But yeah, dude, I don't like this. I don't like this, man. Is this the sign of the times? Is McDonald's going under?
This is tariffs.
Jeez.
I think it's tariff. I think that we get our beef from like Egypt or something, and now it's too expensive. So, but anyway, so we went to the train station. We got off the train station. We went straight to Willis Tower, which is not very far. And I got some beef with the Willis Tower because I've been calling it the Sears Tower, and I said, you know what, I'm going to give it some respect. I'm going to start calling it the Willis Tower. It lost my respect on this day. I'm going back to the Sears because the Sears would never treat people the way that the Willis Tower treated us.
Please tell us.
We go into Willis Tower, and if you're listening, Willis, please call in. We go into the Sears Tower. I haven't been in there since I was like 3 or something like that. And you have to go down 2 floors to get to the tickets. As you're getting tickets, they're like, enjoy your day, have a good time. There's people there to help you or whatever. After you purchase the tickets, you then have to go to a kiosk. And at the kiosk, they tell you, oh, it's very cloudy and there's no visibility right now. And this is after you purchase the tickets. So they don't tell you on your way to the tickets. They tell you after the tickets. And then what can you do? You can't get a refund. You can only reschedule. So if you're with people who are leaving the country, you can't really reschedule and you lose out. And by the way, tickets are like $50 each, $40 each, whatever it was. It was incredibly expensive. And me and Megan didn't even go. Like we were just waiting for them and my mom to go up. And my mom didn't really want to go up either, but it's like a Serbian person. She would have been fine. My niece, she speaks English. Yeah, she would have been okay, but my mom kind of wanted to go with her, even though she was terrified to go up. Me and Megan, way too scared to go up into the Sears Tower, so we're like, yeah, we'll be in the gift area looking for gifts or whatever. But so it was just a thing where people were going, like half the people were like, yeah, we're only here now, so we'll go and hope that the clouds, subside or whatever word means that the clouds go away.
Yeah.
And then the other half of the people are like, yeah, we'll just come back tomorrow. I think when the weather's like that, they should totally be giving a discount. Like, if it's going to be hit or miss when you go up there. We stood next to the place where people take pictures on that little thing that you can walk out on. Yeah. So that on the Sears Tower at the top of it, you can actually walk over the edge, and it's a see-through floor, and you're like, whoa, look at me, I'm a douchebag or whatever. And and then they do a picture, like Great America and the roller coaster rides or whatever. And here's the thing, $35 for the picture if you wanted that. So it's not even included in the ticket price. Sears would have done it. Not Willis. Willis is a jerk.
So I obviously you talked to your mom, your cousin, everything like that. You said you haven't been up there since you were like 3. Yeah, same as me. Last time I went to the Sears Tower, I was probably 5. But now you said you and Megan waited. So how long were you guys waiting? Like, is there a routine? Like, do you just go up there? Do you do your thing and you got 15 minutes or whatever? Or are you allowed to go up there and stay as long as you want?
I believe they sell tickets in like half an hour time stamps or whatever. So you have, and it's not just that floor. Like on the way there, they have stuff for the kids. They have like a deep dish pizza that you can lay in or whatever. You know what I mean? So it's just like very Chicago-y stuff. And so at least that was something for like the 6-year-old to do and have fun. But when they got up there, they said they couldn't see anything. They stood on the ledge, but they were like, it doesn't matter. You don't feel fear because you don't feel that there's nothing below you. It just looks like you're, on a floor or whatever. So very disappointing way to start the trip. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, you're saying that it's like, yeah, they don't give discounts for this or whatever, and you got to plan better. How's this? A guy on the 100th floor with a walkie-talkie that radios down to the guy on the first floor. Yeah, it looks like shit up here. Maybe don't send people up for 40 minutes, Yeah, that's kind of bullshit, because it's like, it's not like they're giving you the option to go up there and see and then be like, yeah, we'll hang out. Yeah, so for them to actually charge you and then give you the stipulations after that's kind of garbage.
I did feel bad for the lady who had to tell everybody because that's a crappy job.
Oh, yeah, she's the bearer of bad news, so.
But she was able to say, like, oh, well, if you have an issue, you have to go back to the ticket thing. So she was kind of deflecting it, but it's still, telling somebody the bad news or whatever.
And they were probably sending everyone right back.
Yeah, that took about a half an hour. They came down. It was kind of disappointing. We knew the weather was not going to be that great that day. It was like not even 60, I wouldn't say, probably 55 degrees or something. It was like cool. Had to wear like a hoodie or whatever. So from there we started walking, and it's quite the haul to get to the Shed Aquarium, but that's where they decided they wanted to go. So it's like a 40-minute walk probably. Even longer if you have a very old woman and my mom and a very small child who's just like running around or whatever. That was a big kind of like wake up call is not the right term to use here, but it was just like something I didn't prepare for. You know what I mean? Was like, because when me and Megan, if we go to the city, we're like in and out. We're going. Yeah. Doesn't matter. We'll go 5 miles, but we're going a straight 5 miles, as fast as you can. And so you can't plan when you have a group. You're just like, oh, okay, we'll get there when we get there. So we start walking. We go through the Grant Park or whatever it's called, Millennium Field. I don't know what it's called over there. And there's a Polish Pride Parade going on, which my wife is Polish. And we actually go to the city for her birthday like every year.
Nice.
And every year we see the Polish Pride Parade, and we're never prepared. Like, we don't know that it's happening. We just always end up there. And there's just like all these people in floats with like submarines with screen doors and whatever else Polish people
glass hammers.
Yeah. So we're walking past there. That was kind of cool to see. And then you go past Buckingham Fountain. And we're like, oh, here, Married with Children, right? That just hit Serbia a couple weeks ago. Like, you guys watch the credits? And so we walk right by it. And, of course, there's a sign that says, be with us next weekend when we turn it on, because it was off.
Yeah,
so it's just like, see, you're trying to show people how great the city is, and you're like, well, there's clouds over there. This water is not turned on. There's Polacks everywhere. This place is crazy. So we continue our trek. At this point, everybody's like kind of getting tired because it's quite the haul to get to the shed. We get to the shed, and I wanted to play a game with you actually, but I think I lost the ticket here.
Oh.
Talk for a second.
All right. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. We're recording on Mother's Day. Sasha's going to be like, no. It's Tuesday night as the episode's being recorded. Hey, we got to drop the whole live recorded for this one. This episode should just be Sasha and Goff recorded. Please come back soon, Sasha. There he is.
I'm here. And I listened to all of it. That was excellent. Do you want to guess how much it was for 4 adults and 1 child to go to the Shed Aquarium?
Okay. It was, let's say, you said 4 adults, 1 child. Let's say $290.
Pretty close. It was like 260, somewhere right around there. That was insane.
Yeah.
Luckily, my mom's paying for all this stuff because, whatever reason she chooses to.
Yeah.
Because if I was involved in this, the Shed Aquarium we would go to Red Lobster, I think. And
There you go. Yeah.
the tallest building we'd be in is a Wendy's or something. Like it would have been a horrible trip if I was in charge of paying for that. But that was insane. Throw that and food and the Sears Tower and Ubers and all this stuff that it was insane how much money my mom spent that day. So we go to the Shed. Then we're like, Chicago deep dish pizza, right? That's what we're known for. The deep dish pizza. It's not that it's not like we all eat different kind of pizza. So we went to Lou Malnati's. They tried the deep dish pizza. They were like, it's fine.
Yeah.
We had a good time, whatever. We go on. Do you know how big slime is to children? Are your kids into slime?
Yeah. Oh, totally. That's
Have
like
you
an
been
easy.
to the slime factory in Chicago?
No.
I think you got to take your kids.
Okay.
Unless they've outgrown it or whatever.
No. They're still like it's one of those. Have you seen like the fidget spinners, things like that? Like, do you know what those are? All right, so slime is kind of another version of that. It's like a like it helps. It can like it's stimulant basically.
Okay.
So like a lot of kids will like play with that, just to stay kind of busy, whatever. But yeah, no, my kids have like buckets of slime, and they still that's an easy go-to. That and like Roblox gift cards.
The slime factory was the number one wanted to go to attraction by my grandson, if you're gonna call him that.
Yeah.
He did not care about the rest of Chicago. He was fine. He's a great kid, and he's like very easygoing. But his whole purpose was the slime factory. So we go to the slime factory. They even like dump slime on the children. Like they put
like you can't do that on television. Remember that on Nickelodeon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except like not on their heads. Like
Okay.
They put a
But
poncho
does it come
on.
up from the ground?
No. They put a poncho on so that they can like go in public afterwards
Gotcha.
or whatever.
Okay.
But that was his favorite thing, and then they let you take slime home. And so that was like his big thing. He loved it. That's his top 3. His number 1 probably Slime Factory. So that was basically all that we got to do. And then like it was already like 6:40 at that point. We had to take a train home at that point. But we had been there all day. 9 a.m. we left from where I live, and we took the 6:40 home, and that's the stuff that we like got through. It was like a very long day, very fun, very nice or whatever, and cool to see family. I've only seen my niece 4 times in my life.
Wow.
The last time she was here was in 2002, we figured out. And so like it's just a weird thing. It's like you're so excited to see somebody, and then you're like, all right, well, I'll see you in another 20 years or whatever, because I'm not going to Serbia anytime soon.
You know what?
So yeah.
You know what's crazy to me? Just the fact that you have a niece and you have 0 siblings. I have 3 siblings, and I have 4 in-law siblings, and I have 0 nieces or nephews.
I know, and it's weird. It's like it's weird to say because that I don't have brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
So like the relation is my niece's great grandma and my mom's mom, or maybe my niece's grandma and my mom's mom, are sisters. Okay. So it's like it is a close relation. But my grandma was the youngest of 12 children.
Jeez.
And so the oldest one had kids like 20 years before the youngest one had kids.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
so like I have a niece who's a week older than me.
That's crazy.
It's weird. Yeah. And so, but that's also how we call it. Like Serbian people, that's how they call it. Like technically I don't have any nieces or whatever. Or I don't know. What is it when you don't have brothers or sisters? Like my cousins have kids.
Yeah.
What are they?
I think they'd be like second, or I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I have no clue. I think in American it's like second cousins, but in Serbian they're like, we're all brothers. We're all brothers. Yeah, and so then they had plane tickets to go back, and then they got held up, and they had to go back the next day. So they were rerouted one day later, and then they separated my niece and her 6-year-old kid in two different aisles.
No. I don't like how that's starting.
I don't know what happened, if like they fixed it at the airport, but like, how does that even happen? If you have a kid, like, shouldn't there be something that says you have a 6-year-old kid, you can't put him in between two diddlers from Chicago to Serbia or whatever? That's crazy.
I love that you use the word diddlers.
Yeah, so they were here. They say they had a good time. It was great having them here and seeing them. And then the next weekend, which was this past weekend, it was Megan's birthday celebration. So we went back to the city. We were wearing matching peach sweatshirts.
On purpose?
Have you heard about this? I mean, on her purpose, yeah. So I went to my favorite store. It's called Primark because everything is cheap. And I bought a $9 just crew neck sweatshirt, and it was peach. And I with the sole purpose of sleeping in this at my house. Like, it's comfortable, and I'm not leaving the house in this. And then Megan's like, no, I have a peach shirt. You're going to wear that. It's my birthday. And I'm like, God damn it. So that's what I did. And now we have a bunch of pictures online, and 4 people called us gay, like both of us. We go to the city, we get off the train, we walk past the abandoned McDonald's, we walk up the steps, and you're crossing the river, and we see a boat, and we do, this is Megan's top 3 for sure, maybe her number 1 thing to do in Chicago, wave at boats.
Oh, yeah.
No,
but I did see on Instagram, yeah, she loves waving at boats.
Yeah, so first thing we do, we see a boat coming, and we both start waving. And the person on the microphone hosting this tour, because it's a massive boat, they turn around and they're like, hey, and people start waving, and they're like, oh, I like that you're matching. And then they called me an F-bomb, and then I cried a little bit. And then even a man on the street was like, yeah.
In Britain?
Yeah, exactly. And so the rest of my day I was sad. We did some boat waving. We went to some bakeries in Fulton Market, which is close by the Bottom Lounge over there. It is one of my favorite neighborhoods in Chicago.
What else is by the Bottom Lounge?
Voodoo Donut.
Yeah.
And the Taste of Randolph.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, did you go to Voodoo Donut?
We did, yeah.
All right. Okay.
We went to Voodoo Donut. We went to Milk Cookies, which is some cookies place. And then, it was not bad. We walked a lot. We walked too much. We went to 2 rooftops because Megan wanted to be on a rooftop like a basic bitch or whatever they call themselves. Okay. And hold on, thumbs up. If you're watching online, we get emojis here. These are great. I hope those actually are recorded. But anyway, so we went to this one rooftop that was like 13 stories up, and that was enough for me. Like, my knees were wobbly. It was over.
Yeah.
And then we went to have lunch at a different one, and it's called the Rooftop on the Gwen Hotel or something like that. And it was fine. Everything was good. It was nice. The weather was weird, and that's it. So that's been my 2 weeks, and it's just been like a hectic, busy 2 weeks of, trying to like hang out with my niece and do stuff during the week and all this stuff, and birthday. And today that we're recording is actually Mother's Day, so like that's part of the reason why we're recording on Zoom. So just, I'm tired is what I'm trying to say. And this red thing on my nose still hasn't gone away. I'm on like 8 days of antibiotics from the doctor, and nothing's working. I'm tired, Goff. I'm tired.
Cut it off.
No, please don't say that.
Bick
the
it
last
off.
thing I need. So anyway, that's enough about my 2 weeks. I'm sorry for blabbering on, but that's just what I've been up to. So what about you? Anything exciting?
No, man.
You're like, I've been sleeping for 2 weeks.
Yeah. No. You know what's funny, actually? You mentioned it when you were talking before, a little bit ago, just about going downtown. You mentioned Great America. So I didn't go to Great America because I don't do shit. But my daughter Sadie actually went with her marching band / chorus, choir, all that stuff. They went yesterday. And it was just weird because the night before, Joni and I were trying to figure out how much money we want to give her, and we're going through making sure everything's good. And now it's like you can't even use cash in there anymore. There's cash to card kiosks, I guess. So it's the same thing, but it's smart on their part because obviously like you, when you enter $100 into a lotto ticket, you have to use that money. But anyway, so no, I would say are you I think we talked a while ago about like carnivals and stuff, but as far as like Great America, are you like a roller coaster guy?
No, I used to be, not like huge into them, but like I was okay to go on them. I don't think I could do it now.
Okay.
I have like as I've gotten older, like whatever fear that you get in life, I don't know. I feel like it's abnormal because when I talk to other people, they're like, no, man, you're just a weirdo or whatever. I don't think I could go to Great America. Like, it's crazy. I used to go all the time. It was just like a thing to do. And now I'm like, I'll be at the corn dog stand if you need me.
Well, it was funny because I saw Al from Melmac today, and I was talking to him, and we were, Sadie was with us, so we were talking about Great America, and he's just like, he's like, oh, it's not her first time, right? And I was like, when was the last time you went to Great America? And he's like, yeah, I'm also an old man now, and it's like, yeah, good point. I was trying to use that as like, well, I haven't been there in 13 years either, but, no, it was just really weird. Like her talking about the different rides they have now, and me just do they still have this? Do they still have this? And then her being like, well, we went on the swings a bunch of times because she's definitely not like a risk taker. So she and that's the thing for me. Like the swings is one of the scariest things just because of all the weight that is on there as it's going around. Like because I've seen videos of those things just shooting off. It's usually the shitty little carnivals. Obviously, Six Flags is a little more established, but I don't know, man. It's been. When's the last time you were there?
Well, apparently, according to my mom, the last time my niece was here, my mom paid for all of us, like me and my friends, to go to Great America. So maybe 2002.
Okay.
I don't know that I've been after that. Oh. If I have once or twice, okay, fine, but no, it's been a very long time. We always talk about going to Fright Fest. You know what? Maybe me and Megan went one time. So if that's the case, then that means within the past 19 years.
Okay.
So,
nice.
But I don't know. It's been way too long, and I don't even think if we went on rides. I don't know.
Man, you'd hardly know that Six Flags was in foreclosure like 10 years ago.
Are you afraid of stuff that you weren't afraid of when you
Heights.
were young? Like, yeah, right? It's worse.
Not to the point where I mean, it's not like I'm like going out climbing buildings and shit, but I mean, I definitely, for instance, like in Door County, we went a few years back, and there's like watchtowers you can go up that are like literally just basically log cabin type structures, but just stairwells that go up, and it's like, wow, you're like 150 feet up in the air. And the thing is completely, but like you start getting that kind of like that, not motion sickness, but you start feeling like the thing's rocking. And it's definitely not. But yeah, I think.
I wouldn't say definitely.
Well, maybe not definitely.
No chance that they like up in Door County, they're like, make sure you check the tower for safety. Yeah. They're like, yeah, it's fine.
The Tower of Terror. There's things I find myself. Like where it's just like, yeah, I could clear that. Like I could jump across that. And it's just like you get ready and it's like 1, 2, you get to like 2.5, and then you're like, nah, fuck it. So yeah,
I did that
definitely
at the slime
more.
Factory.
Yeah.
There was 2 of these like there was just like where you put bikes, like bike racks or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can clear that easily. Just jump over it, like straight over it.
Like hurdling.
And then I was like, but what if I can't? What if I can't go over it? And then I'm just like on the ground holding my balls for like the next half an hour.
Or just feet clipped, just face down.
Yeah.
That'd be wonderful.
I don't know what happened. I watched those videos where people climb on the buildings like with nothing on them, and they're like leaning over the edge, and my knees get like wobbly watching those videos. So when we were up on the 13th floor, we were taking selfies on the ledge, but it took me like 30 seconds to get to the ledge, hold on to something, and like you're able to do it, but it was just like very uncomfortable. I don't know. I'm just a coward. That's all it is.
Nah, like as far as the Sears Tower though, I mean, obviously you said you and Megan didn't go up there. I mean, but that's like a different. I mean, yeah, and I don't know. I mean, like I haven't been the tallest thing I've been on, and shit, I don't know, maybe. Well, you know what? Like 2 or 3 years ago, we went to the Carnival and probably, I don't know, one of those rides. Those are the ones that could easily kill you. But yeah, those are the ones that I'm like, yeah, sure, fuck it, I'll go.
Yeah, I've legitimately watched at our local town carnival as the one that goes like this.
Yep.
It's like a ship.
Is that the one where it's like lifting off the ground?
And it's lifting off the ground and people are like holding it. It's crazy.
It's insane too because they don't close it. They don't shut anything down for that either. They're just like, all right, who's next?
Yeah. Shout out to our dear friend Dogan, who like me and him went on those rides a couple years ago, and then now we both chicken out. We're both like, I don't know, man. I don't think my insurance covers this.
Yeah, you know, like I said, we went like 2 years ago, and I got on a couple of those ones. I mean, obviously these things they're not real roller coasters. These are just stationary rides. But dude, I mean, like, yeah, that
look, everybody keeps getting fatter and fatter. And then we're not changing the rules. We're just putting fatter people on the thing. So now heavier amounts of things, it's just bound to fall over. I don't know.
Yeah, it's got to be.
Yeah.
So, all right, man. Well, that's all I got for this week.
All right, cool. Let's do some thumbs up, thumbs down. What we're putting inside ourselves this week is when we talk about TV, movies, stuff like that we've been watching. I got 4 for you, and I'm going to go through them really quick. Right. How many stand-up specials do you think I watched this week?
This week, 4?
2. I got 2. So,
okay.
First, I watched Chad Daniels, For Reals is what it's called. It's on YouTube. You may recognize the name. I talked about Chad Daniels like 2 months ago because he had another special recently on Netflix. This guy's from Minnesota. This special was awesome as well. So thumbs up for this. Chad Daniels he's a little bit dirtier. He's a little bit tougher topics. And there's a lot of times in this special of his where people are like, they're not laughing. They're going, oh, you know what I mean? They're like, and then he's like, oh, I'm sorry. Did your liberal arts school not like that joke or whatever? Not even in like a aggressive way, but just in like a very funny way. So that one was excellent. Another one I watched was Steven Rogers' Half of Me. Steven Rogers, here's a interesting
Captain
nugget
America.
For you. Yeah, his first special that he has, he mentions that like that's some stuff that he talks about being named Captain America, but he's like an anxiety-ridden like smaller guy, so it's the opposite or whatever. But he's very, very funny. And this special to me was way better than his last special, and his last special I enjoyed too, but he was like faster and more jokes and more act outs. Like it was just really, really solid, and there's like a twist ending on it. This was released on YouTube through the Nate Bargatze like Nateland YouTube page, which is what like bigger comedians are doing to help their like smaller comedians.
Okay.
So Steven Rogers opens for Nate Bargatze. He opens for Tom Papa. He opens for I'm missing someone else relatively big. Oh, Brian Regan, if you know Brian Regan. So he's a lot cleaner of a comedian than the other one, Chad Daniels. So if you like a little harsher, Chad Daniels. If you like cleaner, go with Steven Rogers. But here's a tidbit for you. The first ever open mic quotes that I did was online during COVID when there were no real open mics going on. You could only do them through Zoom. Mm-hmm. And I did in my first open mic. Steven Rogers was in that open mic. I have the video of it somewhere.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it's kind of cool to see like somebody who's like, I mean, he was already an established comedian at that point. He lives in New York, but like he's growing and growing, and I don't know, just kind of cool to see.
Is he giving you a bunch of these?
Oh yeah, thumbs down all the time. Yeah. No, I complimented. I left a comment on one of his posts about this special, and he like immediately liked it and said thank you and whatever. And I'm like, that's how you do it. That's how you get a fan right there. I'm a fan.
Yeah.
I also watched the Mark Twain Awards. Are you familiar with the Mark Twain Awards? Every year they give every year, this is a PBS thing, I want to say, in the Kennedy Center, which has now been taken over by the Trump administration. So they're getting rid of it's a very like artist heavy, so it's obviously a liberal place.
Yeah.
And now they're like, yeah, he's just gonna have Kid Rock play there and Lee Greenwood or whoever.
Perfect. And Ted Nugent.
So every year, the Mark Twain Award's like the biggest award you can get as a comedian. It's for almost like a lifetime award. Like Adam Sandler's got it, and Kevin Hart.
Wow.
And
Mark Twain.
Yeah, because Mark Twain's kind of like, they call him the original comedian or whatever, like humorist or whatever.
Okay.
So this year they gave it to Conan O'Brien. And I love Conan. We've talked about him a bunch on this podcast. And they gave it to him. And so it's a lot of people like Mulaney and Kumail and Stephen Colbert and Will Ferrell and all these guys. They come out, they kind of do a little roast thing, and then also like Conan, we love you. It's kind of like an awards show, but for people you want to see, like funny people. You know what I mean? It's not like actors who are like taking it seriously or whatever. They're all like still making balls jokes and whatever. So I liked it. It's on Netflix. It's an hour and a half long. It's Conan based, so I'm in. And then the last thing I watched, this was for you and my wife who brought it up, and I did not fight her for it. But because you had watched it recently, I said, I'm in. Actually, I was like, fine. We watched Fatal Instinct.
Ooh, okay, all right, cool.
So we watched Fatal Instinct. I like the main guy.
Armand Asante.
So tell me about him. What is he in anything else that I should watch?
In,
where is this guy? He was hilarious. He was very, very good in this movie.
He's in Judge Dredd or Demolition Man, one of those two. I know that because he's like the bad guy against Sylvester Stallone at one point.
Does he do anything funny?
No, you know what? I mean, like off the top of my head, I can't think of a ton of things he's in, but I do remember when I saw Fatal Instinct just being like, oh, I've seen that guy and stuff, and I didn't know he was like funny. And then also Christopher McDonald's in that too, right? He's the one that's he's the one that's having the affair with the wife. The one that's he's like, isn't that Shooter McGavin?
Yes.
Okay.
I just didn't know his name was. I was trying to put two and two together.
I think.
Yeah. Yeah, he's in it, and he's excellent. He's like the perfect, just like asshole kind of bad guy, whatever you want to call him.
Yeah, like isn't that great though? And I think I mentioned it last week, but the whole how he goes both ways. He's a lawyer and a cop, so it's like he'll arrest people and then.
So there was a lot of like funny things that I actually laughed out loud for, and then there was a lot of things where I was just like, man, this is just dumb. Like this is such a dumb. And I didn't get the references. Megan was trying to point out some of the references, but I don't think I needed them. I don't think... I mean, maybe it would have made it a better experience, but, like, you get the point of the movie, so it's just... it was all right. I don't think I'll watch it for a very, very long time if I ever watch it again. But it wasn't, like, a waste of time movie. It was fine. My favorite part was the skunk. Like, there's, like, his pet skunk. Ron Jr. or whatever his name is.
Okay, yeah. She boils it, right? Or
he thinks that she boiled it, but she was just making spaghetti. But she took it on like a roller coaster at one point.
Yeah.
It's like, you see its hand. It's so stupid. It's so stupid that it was good. It was good. I'm glad I watched it, and I'm done with that. So if anybody asks me if I've seen Fatal Instinct, I can now say, yes, I have. And how about that?
It was just so funny when you mentioned it last week because that's like, one of those deep pull spoof movies that's not obviously Naked Gun or Scary Movie or whatever. And it's not like a great movie by any means, but I haven't seen it in I don't know how long. So just like when you mentioned it last week, it's like some of the stuff came back. It was pretty awesome.
Well, and Chet from Boy Meets World, who is Sean's dad.
Yeah.
Who made my top 3 rednecks list.
Yep, yeah.
The guy with the voice.
Yeah.
Like, he's a bad guy in this movie, which was incredible.
Wow,
and also Jane Lynch was in this movie as like a TV reporter asking questions or whatever. So it's kind of cool to see those people when they're younger,
Yeah, I know Sean Young is like the femme fatale. She was the, She is actually. She's in the first Ace Ventura. Yep.
Yeah.
Ray Finkel.
I asked Megan. I go, "Who is this?" Because she looks really familiar, and she goes, "She was in Dan Marino, the Dan Marino movie."
Yeah. The Dan Marino movie with the dolphin.
Yeah, the Dan Marino documentary.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's all I've been watching this week. And what about you? By the way, thumbs up for all of it. So.
Okay. So first one, I've got a thumbs like mid. So we'll say here, not quite good, not quite bad. It's the newest Marvel movie, Thunderbolts. Have you seen trailers for this?
No, I've heard a lot of good things from people, though.
Okay.
I'm surprised you're in the middle.
Well, that's funny. Yeah, because Alf, like I said, we were talking about that, and he kind of felt the same way. Suge also, too. He was like, what are you talking about? Everyone's loving this movie. This one just, it doesn't, to me, like, it's a lot more grounded. So that was kind of nice to see, like, because it's not in outer space, and it doesnn't have, I guess the villain of the movie is kind of godlike, but it was pretty funny. I like most of this cast, but the reason they threw this team together is because these basically are characters that no one gives a shit about in Marvel. Because all of these characters have been in other Marvel movies, and a lot of them are people that are just like, well, whatever happened to that guy? So the Thunderbolts is a comic, like, accurate team that has just kind of like the Guardians of the Galaxy. I know you're familiar with them at least, or at least the name of that. So yeah, this Thunderbolts movie, though, like, I don't know if you've noticed, there's an asterisk after it, which is kind of clever. So, like, during all the advertising and everything for this, it would say Thunderbolts, and then they would be like, ding, and they would throw that asterisk. So it was, like, good marketing. I predicted what it was, though, like, before I saw the movie, and sure enough, at the end of the movie, they kind of show you what that means, and it was just like, kind of
don't spoil it.
I'm not going to. I won't do it. No.
Okay.
But yeah, the movie itself, I mean, it was good enough. I don't know. I was expecting a little bit more. So I'm going to say I'll give it a mid. And then the other thing I got, some music actually, and this one's a couple months old, but I just heard about it. It's the new Silverstein EP, Anti-Bloom or Anti-Bloom, however you want to say it. Silverstein is one of those bands that is still just, they're on like their 12th or 13th studio album. I've been a fan of theirs pretty much, I think, maybe 2 or 3 years. I think they've been around since 2000. I've been a fan since probably like 04, 05. But yeah, just another band that is consistent. The lead singer still sounds great. The band is basically the same band for the last 25 years. There's been one change, and the newest guy in the band's been in with them for like 12 years. So, yeah, just like a tight band. And my brother actually sent me a text telling me when their new EP comes out, because it was like a 2-parter. So the first one, I mean, and Silverstein, I think when they first started off, they were more of like a screamo band. But I mean, through the years, I mean, it's like everything. They've got a lot of fast punk stuff. They've done, as far as like, yeah, when you're trying to catch my ear or yours, it's like, oh, do they have any fast stuff? It's like, yes, they have plenty. But yeah, so Anti-Bloom, again, that came out in like February, and then I guess the second part of that comes out in September. So yeah, that's a huge thumbs up. And then Silverstein in general, I love them. And it's, like I said, it's a band I seemingly forget about all the time. And then it's like, oh, they got a new album. And then like, so I've listened to this new album. I've been listening to it for the last like week, at least once a day, but it's only 8 songs. So more of an EP, I guess.
They by the way, you said seemingly hate it.
I know. See, but I haven't said what you mocked me before. I haven't said damn it. Never mind. Keep going.
Well played.
Well played. There you go. That's what it was.
Silverstein's a band that I think I heard a long time ago, and like you said, screamo or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And it was probably at the time where I was like very, very close-minded, and I heard it and I was like, I hate this, and I probably have never listened to them since then. So I'm willing to give them a try, because now I'm an older, wiser gentleman, and I got time to waste. So
no, truth be told, like, I'm not actually like a big fan of their very first album, because that's kind of how I was, and it's still, it's one of those things though. I mean, like, the band is 25 years old, so like the first album just doesn't sound as good. It's got like all the hit songs, but it's like when you try to like put, like, if you're making a mix or something, it just doesn't sound good because like the quality's shitty. But it's got, like I said, it's got all the hit songs.
Are they a Victory band?
They were. They're right now.
Okay.
They're. I have no idea, but they're a Canadian band.
Okay.
That.
Yeah. Little respect
okay,
there.
Cool. Oh, and speaking of Canadian bands, I won't get into this one. New Propaganda. Have you heard it?
Yeah, I'm about halfway through.
Okay, that's
Like,
about
I
as
haven't
far
been
as
able-
I got too. I just stopped it. That's all I'll say.
you-
I shut it off.
Really? You don't like
Yeah,
it?
No.
They released, I want to say, 3 singles before they released the entire album, and I think 2 of them I like, and one of them I was kind of like, meh, that's fine. But they're one of those bands that's like ever changing, kind of like they've gotten so much heavier over the years and more prog rocky and stuff like that.
That's a good way to put it. And I was thinking about it because like I was listening to the album and I'm kind of like, I don't really dig this. I don't really think I'm that big of a Propaganda fan. I think that's why.
Wow.
Like I love what's their the How to Clean Everything, which is probably why I turned into a custodian for many years. But no, so I love that album, and then I love Less Talk More Rock. Or no, I'm sorry, not that one. Today's Empires, Tomorrow's Ashes. All right, so album 1 and then album 3. Other than that, I mean, it's not that I don't like it, but I mean, other than that, I think those are the only 2 albums that I think I'm like, this album fucking rules. And then most of the other Propaganda stuff, it's like supporting cast or whatever. It's like, yeah, I like 2/3 of it. You know,
see, I'm different. I got even way more into them because they turned heavier. Like I liked the early stuff, and then now they're like one of my favorite bands ever because of the heavier stuff. Like, they're one of those bands that has songs that like I don't like on every album, right? It's not like every single song is incredible, but they do have like, I'll pick 4 from this album, 7 from this album, 9 from this album, and like all together you're like, oh man, I like 30 of their songs or whatever it is. Yeah, I'm a big fan, and they were actually supposed to play Fest in Gainesville, and for those who don't know, Propaganda is a very political Canadian punk band, and they just canceled all of their stuff in America for certain reasons.
Wow.
Probably election related and stuff like that, but I wish they would have said that earlier, because a lot of people were buying tickets to go see them, and now they can't get their money back or whatever.
Wow.
Like Fest was not giving money, they were not giving refunds because there's still like a million other bands playing or whatever. And they were playing Punk in the Park in Denver, which I was trying to go to so I could see my cousin Nick and go to this incredible fest with all these bands. Still trying to go to it, but wish Propaganda was there. But yeah, I don't know. Cool.
No, that's all I got.
That's everything.
So that's it.
All right. Well, then let's dive deep into our psychological traumas as we head into our top 3 childhood memories. What's the oldest that you were in any of your positive memories here? Like, how did you define childhood?
All right, so all of these are definitely, all the ones I have down are definitely like elementary school, like at the latest, I would say. Like one of them that I have actually in my worst memories is, I don't even remember how old I was, but it might be like my earliest memory.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. I went up to age 13 as my oldest, and I thought that I was pushing like a little too much on that. But I had a really tough time with this. Like, I'm not good at remembering stuff, including my own life or whatever. My dad will be like, hey, remember when we did this when you were 9? And I'm like, I have no clue that we've ever been anywhere when I was 9.
Yeah.
So, no. All I know is, like, pictures that I've seen. It's really weird. But, yeah, so I'll start with number 3. And this is something that actually was probably from age, I don't know, 7, 8, 9.
Hold on, you're starting with your top, right?
Yeah, I didn't even do bottom because I didn't want to get scarred there.
Okay.
I do have one for the bottom, but like I didn't think about those.
Okay.
So my number 3, I'm doing. It's called missions, is what we'll call them.
All right.
So we talked about the fact I'm an only child. I don't have brothers and sisters, but my cousins, Nick, Gordon, and Melissa, they were like my brothers and sisters. We were close. I used to sleep over by them all the time. Like, we were always hanging out. Like, they still are. They're my brothers and sisters. Mm-hmm. But this is back when we were kids. So like, in one house. It would be like, it was like my uncle's house with my grandma. Like they lived there. And obviously the kids lived there. There were 3 rooms in a row. Hold on. I'm supposed to wake up. My alarm just went off.
Yeah, are you going to do that then? You going to wake up?
No, I don't think so. So there's 3 rooms in the house or whatever. My grandma slept in one, and Nick and Goran slept in the middle. And then I don't know if Melissa slept in that middle one with them or if she would sleep in my uncle's room because she was like way younger at this time. She was probably, I mean, if in 1990 she was 4. So like This is around that time that I'm talking about. So I was like 8, let's say. And if I slept over, she definitely slept over there. But usually we actually all would sleep in my Uncle Bob's room, and we would watch SNL and Benny Hill and all this stuff. But anyway, none of that matters. Like, I guess it's all one big memory. But the thing that would happen was when my grandma would go to sleep, when my Uncle Bob would go to sleep, when Melissa would go to sleep, me, Nick, and Goran would get up. So it's like middle of the night. I'm going to call it 1 a.m., but I never knew what time it was. It could have been 9:30. Like, it doesn't, you're a kid. You have no clue, like, what's going on. And we would just set up these missions from, like, what we were doing earlier in the day. So, like, if we left candy in the basement or something like that, we'd be like, all right, here's the plan. We got to make it downstairs without waking people up and, like, figure. And so that's what we would do. And we would kind of, like, slowly move. Mm-hmm. And it was always something different, you know? You would, like, but we were all just, like, I don't know, night owls and, like, mischievous and all that kind of stuff. And so, like, that became a thing. And then especially when the Three Ninjas movies came out, like, we called ourselves Rocky, Colt, and Tum Tum. Like,
oh, yeah.
We were like, yeah, we are the Three Ninjas. And so we kind of, like, you know, like, same with that. We would just kind of make up dumb stuff. We were young kids or whatever, and we would just, like, creep around the house in the middle of the night. And as far as I remember, nobody ever caught us, or they didn't care, or whatever.
They just didn't give a shit.
Yeah, but I will say this: my Uncle Bob, I love my Uncle Bob. He's in all 3 of my top childhood memories.
Well, that says something. Like, that's great.
My parents are not in any of them. Which, like, I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. I came up with this list, and then I was like, oh my god, that's such a weird thing that happened or whatever. So yeah, that's my number 3, missions.
All right, so that's kind of funny actually. So my number 3, it's something I can actually give the title for what this game was called that we used to play, and it's Anchobies. So not anchovies with a V, it's basically anchovies but with a B. So Anchobies. All right. We lived in a townhouse, and my cousins lived very close to us, and there was this kid named John who lived, like, I think he lived in the same unit as us, the same building. And he was an only child, and this kid was, like, obsessed with guns, and, like, not like handguns, but I mean, like, obviously his parents would they would buy him, like, all
assault
these
rifles.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. But no, I mean, to the point where this kid, like, in his closet, like, he opened it up and it's like his parents let him make an arsenal. So he actually got to, like, put nails in the wall and hang up his guns. So he'd let us play him. But yeah, this game Anchobies, we would run around, like, our little neighborhood, and you would just call out. These were like little aliens essentially that you were seeing, and you would just be like, this one's got 6 legs and 7 penises and 12 eyeballs, and then everyone would just aim their gun and start shooting at that. So Anchobies, but then that's also up there with just like kick the can, ghosts in the graveyards, playing tag, stuff like that. I mean, just games that we used to always play because there were tons of kids, like, when we were growing up. So, yeah, I would say just... Go ahead.
Were all the games that you played games where you were seeking out multi-penised creatures?
Not all of them. Just this one. Okay. But, I mean, we also played, like, King of the Mountain and stuff, you know, like, where you'd toss each other down the hills. And a lot of dangerous stuff. But, yeah, Anchobies was the only, the one with aliens, so...
When me and my friends also played King of the Hill, but it was like we were going into, like, 8th grade or something. How old are you in 8th grade? 13, 14?
Yeah, about that. Yeah, 14.
Yeah, so I was trying to, like, kind of not add that to... I was trying to go more childhood, but then it just didn't end up that way, so... Whatever. But Anchobies, solid number 3 with the Anchobies. All right, my number 2, I was 10 years old, and I can tell you the exact date. This was June 5th, 1992.
Okay.
And I can tell you this. Hold on, I got to wake up. My alarm keeps going off for some reason.
Wake up.
But so this is when I was actually 9 years old. I was going to be 10 within 2 weeks of this thing. This is one of my favorite moments as a child, and it definitely affected me because I am still a fan of professional wrestling to this day. But this was the first house show that I went to, first wrestling show,
wow.
First whatever you want to call it. This was a WWF show in 1992. There's about 2,000 people there at the Rosemont Horizon, which, if you know, now it holds 15,000 people or whatever it is, some ridiculous number. And the WWE now just constantly sells it out. Back in the day, 2,000 people in that building is not a lot of people. But anyway, so this was me, my Uncle Bob, I believe my dad, I believe my Uncle Steve, who I've talked about, who got all of us kids into wrestling, and then me, my cousin Nick, and my cousin Goran. I want to say that was the 7 of us. I could be skewed on this one, whatever it is, but
was your
7
Uncle
of us.
Bojo there?
No, he was not.
Damn.
He lived with us probably after this. So
okay, no Bojo,
or maybe before. No Bojo. We were Bojo-less.
Okay.
So we go to this house show, and by the way, me, Nick, and Goran have been watching wrestling Saturday mornings at this point. Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior, all these guys for years at this point. So we're huge wrestling fans. We're excited to be going to this. Just some of the highlights, so I don't go deep into wrestling, but this was when the Ultimate Warrior and Papa Shango were feuding.
Okay.
Papa Shango would make the Ultimate Warrior throw up with his spells or whatever.
Because it's voodoo magic.
The Texas Tornado, Kerry Von Erich, known from the Iron Claw movie that came out a couple years ago, last year, whenever it was. He was on this show, and since I was 6, I've been saying that he pointed at me in the crowd, because he came out and he pointed directly at me, and at that point, I was hooked. Of course, he probably pointed at everything. He did it. Well played. Well played. You see what I did there? We're getting
Someone's got a new catchphrase.
Yeah. By the way, we have a merch website set up.
Oh, we do?
Yeah, I didn't tell you about it, and I'm not ready to share it yet. All that's on there is 2 water bottles, and they're $20 each, and I can't get the price lower. So I'm working on it. I just want you guys to know I'm working on it. Also on this show was Bret Hart versus Shawn Michaels, which was a rivalry that they didn't fight often, but this is when Shawn Michaels was a bad guy. He had Sensational Sherry in his corner. I remember the finish like it was, yesterday or whatever. This was just awesome to see. And then one of my favorite things about this, there was an intermission, you go, you get merch, you get some snacks or whatever. And one thing that I always remember from this, and I know my cousins do too, my uncle bought us one incredibly large drink for the 3 of us, right? There was no everyone gets their own drink.
Yeah.
But we weren't allowed to go back to our seats until we finished the drink.
Oh God.
Because he knew we would spill it. We were like idiots or whatever. So we went we're just passing it, back and forth, back and forth. We finished the whole thing and we went down there. And that's a memory. I remember that. I remember the side of the stadium we were on. All that stuff, Yeah. And so it was obviously a big moment in my life or whatever. Yeah. So that's my number 2.
Nice. All right. So my number 2 isn't a specific moment. It is just a series of, just Christmas Eve as a kid going to my grandma Urich's house, which, not to bring down the show, but I got to give a shout out, rest in peace. She passed away earlier this week, actually, which was kind of rough.
Sorry to hear
that. So for Mother's Day, it was really kind of rough for my mom today, but we got over there. Anyway, grandma, she was an iconic hard ass. But anyway,
Slightly
her and
less important than that. One of my favorite wrestlers, Sabu, died today.
Oh, I remember Sabu.
his signature was the sky point. Like that's where we get it from.
He was the one that actually
away.
wore the turban, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And,
ECW.
60 years old. ECW, great, legend.
Yeah, awesome. But yeah,
awesome.
well, no, I mean like he was an awesome wrestler. Sorry, I'm happy that I got the reference. But anyway, so just Christmas Eve over there. My mom's half of the family was always, and I hate to say it, my dad's half of the family was the more like conservative Christian one. My mom's half, it was just like hell yeah, let's party. So. Yeah, it was just as kids, it was great because I mean, like I feel like we were there every Christmas Eve until like 1 a.m., 1:30 a.m. And then, it's just like all of a sudden one year, it's just like everyone can drive and these parties are over by like 9 p.m. Everyone can just go home or everyone's like, I remember it got to a point where it's like we're leaving grandma's on Christmas Eve to go to like a bar now, and it's just like, what the hell is happening? But yeah, and I probably talked about it on our video games episode a couple weeks ago, but like, I know I did it at one point on this podcast, but when we got the Sega Genesis on Christmas Eve, and it was like, hell yeah, we were so excited, but there was only one controller for like 8 of us. So, but yeah, just Christmas Eve at grandma's. Good times.
Love it, and rest in peace to your grandma. Sorry
Thank
to hear
you.
that, buddy.
Thank you.
My number one is I want to say the first concert that I went to. Now I used to
with
say,
Uncle Bob.
With my Uncle Bob.
Jeez.
Yeah. Me, my Uncle Bob, and my cousin Nick.
Okay.
And this was December 8th, 1995. So I was 13 years old. And it was also at the Rosemont Horizon. How crazy is it that 2 of my 3 childhood favorite moments are at the Rosemont Horizon?
All right. Hold on. Can you just give me a hint? Is this one of your and Nick's bands, or is this one of your uncle's bands you guys saw? Like, so is it like a more of
me and Nick?
Okay.
Nick.
All right.
Although my Uncle Bob did want to see one of the bands playing that night, but I think we just kind of guilted him into taking us. And yeah, do you want to guess?
I'm thinking like a Twisted Christmas, something like that, a Q101 show, or
yeah, it was
Jamboree.
Twisted Christmas 2.
No
it
shit.
Was the second
okay.
ever.
Okay.
Yeah. By the way, I looked up the other Twisted Christmases, Chris Mai, however you say them.
Yeah.
There were some good ones. The first Twisted Christmas was Bad Religion.
Shit.
And Dinosaur Jr. and Weezer.
Wow.
And like, it's just like, all right, Killing Joke or whatever.
Damn.
Pretty interesting. So this was Twisted Christmas 2 at the Rosemont Horizon, like I said, in December 95. Now, I think I used to tell people that my first concert was White Zombie and Pantera, just to like be cool.
Yeah.
But it was actually this. And this concert featured Alanis Morissette as the headliner, White Zombie, which is who I really wanted to see.
Yeah.
And we did not stay for White Zombie because it was every band, there was one stage, every band would play and then get off, and then another band would like set up and then play.
Yeah.
So it went for like 8 hours or whatever. It was like a work
sucked.
shift going to this thing. And we didn't make it like after. I think those were the only 2 that we didn't see. It was Alanis Morissette and Rob Zombie, or White Zombie. We left and we ended up going to the White Castle on North Avenue in Villa Park, Illinois, which, by the way, that closed recently too, which is insane.
What the hell's happening?
Big ups. But Goo Goo Dolls was also on this, Oasis, Porno for Pyros, Silverchair, Soul Asylum, and the band that's coming to Chicago July 2nd, Tripping
Spud?
Daisy, baby.
Ah, okay.
Tripping Daisy's coming to town. 30 years since I've seen them. You know I'm going to that. Bottom Lounge, Fulton Market. We're getting donuts afterwards.
Wait, is that the one that Sponge is playing with them?
No, that's Sponge, Everclear, and Local H. It's in Pilsen, September or something like that. But yeah, that concert was just like, music is a very big part of my life, as we've talked about on this podcast. It's important to both of us. And just like guitar, music, concerts, that's been my life the past however many years. And that was the first one. And I remember my Uncle Bob, poor Uncle Bob, had to take me and Nick, and we had a good time. But I mean, like, he loved concerts too. He used to go to see Kiss in the 70s and stuff like that. He was a big concert person.
Yeah.
So he probably had a good time. with 13-year-old me or whatever.
Well,
So
that's funny too, actually, because I was talking, again, I saw my brother today at my parents' house, and we were talking about Warped Tour 96 or whatever, and he's just like, was that our first show? And it was like, yeah, I think it was, but then like after that, we saw Less Than Jake like 5 more times that summer, and but it was just crazy, yeah. So I think Warped Tour 90, or maybe it was like 98, something like that, or 97, 98, but it's just like, yeah, because the first proper show I believe I went to was Less Than Jake, Descendants, and Guttermouth. Like an actual, non-festival. And, yeah.
It's crazy. It's like, I don't even know how you would find out about those bands to go. Like, this was Q101 in its prime, alternative music. So, like, I was totally into radio and all that stuff. I didn't even know punk existed at this point, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
cool.
no, I think, right around when Green Day and Offspring, like 95-ish, that's kind of when I started. Because, one of my buddies, actually, he wanted to buy the very, because Offspring came out with Smash, but they had one before that called Ignition, and my buddy really wanted to get that one, and he went to Best Buy, and it was kind of one of those, like, dude, you're not going to find it there, and sure enough, he couldn't, but so he bought Punk-O-Rama Volume 1, and that's how we got into all those bands, so...
Yeah, and then Nick is the one who got me into all those bands.
Yeah.
So.
Good stuff.
Crazy.
All right, so my number 1, kind of similar to your number 2, and this is being able to watch free pay-per-views as a child, wrestling pay-per-views. So I know we talk about this a lot. Obviously, you have a much more of a history with wrestling than I do, but I mean, I was a legit fucking wrestling fanatic when I was a kid. Like us watching I guess we had a black box. I didn't think that we did, but yeah, my parents are like, oh yeah, that's what it was. So also just the time, remember when pay-per-views were like $29.99? God.
Yeah, tell me.
So yeah, pretty much Survivor Series, WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, and then SummerSlam. Yeah, so those 4 were the main 4. For the longest time, and yeah, we would have friends over, and I mean, we'd be doing the wrestling moves during the matches and everything, and yeah, I think, that, and then a quick potent notable was just living close to family, which I guess I kind of talked about that with like the playing guns and stuff. I mean, since we were in townhouses, I mean, we were essentially in a subdivision, and you didn't have to worry about like busy roads in there, so it was like, my cousin's family lived like across the street, and then I had another cousin on the other half of the family that lived down the street. And again, just having like tons of kids around. Because when we moved into Glendale Heights, it was, like obviously there's still kids and everything. It took us a while to get to know those kids. But like when you live in, like I said, like a townhouse type area where it's more of a subdivision, and it's like you're kind of, I don't know. I just feel like once we moved and got into like an actual house, it wasn't as fun. I don't know if that makes any sense.
You probably like know everyone in the subdivision.
Yeah. That's pretty,
better or whatever.
Yeah. So, I think just, like I said, just growing up, having a lot of like cousins and friends and family close and everything. So just that, I mean, just the memory of always having someone to play with and stuff.
So did you do you did a bottom 3 for this as well?
Yeah. Okay.
All
so
right. Let me do this. I'm going to do my potent notables, and then you do your bottom 3 in a row so we can get the tears flowing so that we can get the hits on TikTok. My potent notables, one of them was I went to Wisconsin Dells with my cousin Nick one time. The 2 of us went up, and so he was like at least 16 because he drove his old black Sunfire or whatever.
I remember
Sunbird.
that. I remember that baby. Yep.
And so that was fun because it was like our first like vacation, no parents. It was just me and him. We went up. We drove up because we saw a cow. So we were gonna go like cow tipping. So we like drove up to a farm because we're morons, and like went to a cow, and then like we chickened out and left. No. And then a car followed us all the way to downtown Wisconsin Dells. We were like freaking out because we saw it follow us. And when we stopped at a light, the guy got out of his car and walked up, and he was like, "Can I help you with something?" And we were like, "Ah," because we were kids or whatever. And we were like, "No, we're good. We're all right." So that was like scary, but a fun time. We have a lot of pictures from then. another potent notable, just anytime I got hamsters, which I had 2 hamsters in my life, but like my cousin Bojo is the reason why I got hamsters. Like he convinced my parents to get me a pet. They're like, look, he doesn't have brothers and sisters. You got to give him something. He's going to start talking to his hand soon or whatever. Talking if you're lucky. And so the hamsters, Linkovich, Chomovsky, and Luigi, shout out, rest in peace. And then here's kind of my negative one that I remember. I had a birthday party, and all my family came, and kids and adults and everything. It was a big like pool party. We used to have a pool. Just a lot of people. Let's say 50 people at this party. That's what I'm remembering. It was probably like 9.
Okay.
But anyway, I got a bunch of money like for birthday presents. And I don't know if my parents gave me this money or if they just left it on the fridge or something. But I took all of it. I was like, it's my birthday. This is my money. And so I took all the money, and the first weekday, I went to the card shop.
Oh.
Next to Tommy's, and I spent all of my birthday money at the card shop. And then when I got home, my parents, like, they were waiting for me. Like, they knew the money was missing, and I was like, I opened everything. Like, there was no going back. Like, I had wasted all the money on cards or whatever. And so that's a pretty traumatic moment. They didn't like beat me or anything, but there was definitely yelling, and there was probably not a lesson learned. I don't know, but yeah, that's one that I was like, oh, this just popped into my head.
Are these the cards you're selling on eBay? You're finally trying to make that money back.
Long gone. Yeah, these are the ones that you bought because you were like, this is an investment, and they were all worth nothing because there were so many of them printed or whatever. So.
Oh yeah.
But that card shop owner, I mean, he got 2 months rent out of me at that time. So
damn.
Congrats to him.
I like that you didn't have a top 3, but you had 1 and then 2 potent notables. It's an interesting way to do it. All right, so quickly, kind of a vague one. I still to this day hate long car rides, and I feel like all my relatives, like my grandparents lived an hour and a half away, another one of my 45 minutes. So I just like, and everything seems so much longer when you're a kid and you don't really know where things are. Like like I ask my daughters all the time when I'm driving with them, I'm like, do you know where we are? Because I want them to be familiar with like their surroundings. So it's like, because I think about that as a kid when you're just like, you don't know land milestones or like landmarkers, and you're just like, when the hell are we going to get there? So
I live like 2 blocks away from where one of my uncles lived for a long time. And then he actually sold the house to another one of my uncles. So like it's a family home that my family's been visiting for a long time since I was a kid. And when I was a kid, I was like, it felt like 3 days to get there. And now I live where this house is, and I know where my parents lived. And I was like, this is a 15 minute away. Drive.
Yep.
It was insane.
That's awesome. Well, that's hilarious too, because one of my they don't live there anymore, but one of my dad's brothers and his family, they used to live like, I don't know, 2 minutes from where we're at now, but this was a house I could never find when I finally started driving, and it's just like, oh, we're going to Uncle Dave's, and it was like, shit. But yeah, now it's just like I pass that house like all the time. It's funny. All right, but my number 2, football practice. I played for the Glendale Heights Spartans for 5 years, and there was nothing. I played baseball, I played basketball, I played a lot of sports as a kid. There was nothing worse than football practice. It's just, especially like the first year I played, I remember when I put my helmet on for the first time, I wanted to die. Like, it hurt so bad. I swear to God, like, it was one of these things. It's like, if I have to wear this thing every day, I'm either quitting or, something far worse. That was dark. But, so football practice, and then it's like, as the season goes on, it goes from all 5 days a week to Monday, Wednesday, Friday. But since my sisters were both cheerleaders, like when my mom got to kill 4 birds with one stone, it would be like me, Rob, Heather, and Jess all going to do the same activity for 2 hours, like every night, so it's like, hell yeah. But I give her a ton of credit for doing that. My dad got to go to the games. He got all the fun stuff. So, but yeah, practices.
When did you stop playing sports?
I think like 7th grade. It would have been my last year, like, because in Glendale Heights for the Spartans or for like Pop Warner football, whatever, or Bill George, I think they are. It goes by weight classes, so it's like 95 pounds, 105, 110, and I think 135 was the highest level, and I didn't play that final year. I just didn't want to. I was like, it was like after 5 or 6 years, and I felt bad. Like my friends like were calling me, and they're just like, "You're really not playing?" It's like, yeah, dude, I just don't want to anymore. I'm just like,
And that's when the rollerblades came to town.
yeah, yeah. Oh God, yeah. You could say that's where my life went to hell.
Yep.
Okay, but anyway, all right. Yeah, I forgot you already did your list, so. Then the last thing, and this is the one I was talking about before that might be my very first memory. I have a very distinct and haunting memory of being lost at, it was either a Kmart or a Venture, like one of those big ass stores. So what I remember is being in like the, like where I guess not the foyer, maybe I guess, like where like the in-between part, like where the shopping carts are. So like, I remember being in there crying my eyes out, like, because I was so scared. And then my mom, like, coming, like, running from somewhere to get me. And this was something that, like, I had, like, I wouldn't say nightmares, but I definitely had, like, dreams about being in that, like, that situation. Just like, yeah. And I have no idea how old I was. Like, my mom probably remembers, but... I'm thinking like,
wow.
Yeah, less than probably like 5. I mean,
Okay, so this, by the way, opens up some memories on my end over here. This therapy session that we're going through.
Yeah.
I also had a situation. I think it was at a Venture where I hid from my parents. So like a clothing rack that's a circle.
Yep.
And you're a kid, and I would go inside, and one of them, when I came out, like my parents were missing because they thought I was missing, so they were like looking for me. It was in like Glen Ellen on North Avenue, and so there was something there. And then another one that I totally forgot about until now. This could have made a bottom 3 list for sure.
Yeah,
we went to a Dominic's, and I stole an Alvin and the Chipmunks cassette. Have I told this story before?
No, I don't think so.
And I stole this cassette I was 5 or 6 or something, like very, very young. No, maybe 7 or 8 because we were in the second house that we lived in. But either way, I stole this Alvin and the Chipmunks cassette. And then we go home. Everything's fine. I completed the stealing. I didn't get caught, whatever. We make it home. And I start listening to the cassette, and my mom's like, "Where did you get an Alvin and the Chipmunks cassette?" And I was like, and I didn't know how to get out of it. Like I was a horrible liar when I was a kid, apparently. And so I ended up telling them, and then my mom made me return it to Dominic's.
Wow.
And so like she brought me there. She told the manager what happened, and he was a big walrus-looking man with a big mustache. And I remember he kneeled down. And he was like, if you steal, you go to jail. And in jail, they don't have Coca-Cola. And I was like, no, I'll never steal again. And, that might be why I don't drink soft drinks, because I want to steal.
Yeah.
Or something. I don't know. But, yeah, that you jarred a memory there at the end here.
Wow. All right. Well, that's all I got for my...
Do you think lesser of me because of that story?
No, not at all. It's funny because I was never like, as far as stealing, I remember me and my friend Peter once, we went to Stratford Square Mall with my brother, and I shouldn't have just said me and Peter. There was a group of like 7 of us, but I was with him. And this was like, before we got there, it was almost established that the group was going to basically leave with as much stuff, that without paying for it. So we actually bought stuff and played it off as stolen. So like, we bought like because we were just like both like it's like I can't do this shit, man. It's like I was afraid to get in trouble. I was kind of like a pretty kind of, I don't know, a good kid, I guess.
I definitely, and I hope my parents know this. If they ever hear this, I hope this isn't news to them, but I definitely stole like box of cards or something from Venture. I think I stole like video games at some point because back then there was like no security for video games.
Yeah,
I
think statute of limitations get you off. I think you're okay.
I know, but
maybe not from your parents.
You don't want
to
sound like a I don't know, delinquent or juvenile delinquent or whatever. But
as long as you don't steal anymore, or like, do you shoplift?
Well, let's end this podcast
before we incriminate ourselves anymore.
Yeah. By the way, I'm selling a brand new PlayStation 5. I just found it recently.
No, you're not. Are you really?
No, I'm kidding. I stole it. You know.
Oh, okay. I thought you. Yeah, sorry, I screwed that one up.
Poorly played.
Yep.
Anyway, that is it. We're never doing a Zoom show again, or what? Google Meets.
How is this an hour and 20 minutes? What were we talking about for that long?
We can't continue at this rate. This is insanity.
Holy shit! All right. Well, what are we doing? What are we doing next week then?
Next week, which we should have done this week, but we're idiots and we don't know how to plan this out very well. Next week we're going to be doing top 3 MILVs. MILVES.
I love that. MILVs.
Yeah, the plural of MILVs. And so because it is Mother's Day when we're recording this, it would have been good to do it today, but like I said, we're morons. And so top 3 MILVs. Do we do a bottom 3 MILVs or do we do a top 3 DILFs as well?
DILFs. Or GILFs. Grandmas.
MILVs and GILVs?
Yeah. Feel weird talking about grandmas right now, but I don't know. Let's
especially your grandma was in my top 3 for sure.
Oh my god!
I'm sorry. All
right, end it now. All right, but yeah, we'll do. I don't know. Yeah, just make sure.
Don't clip that. I don't want your mom to see that.
I won't clip that. I might. We'll see. We'll do. Just make sure you do MILFs, and then if you're feeling saucy, you could do another list: GILFs, DILFs.
Yeah, if we feel like it, we'll do something else. Top 3 MILFs for sure.
Sounds good.
And we will see you guys next week, and hopefully it will be in person.
Later.